Right, this morning we're going to try and do something with this ignition lock because it's broken and there is very little information on the internet about these dumb Isuzu pickups, especially when it comes to doing these ignition locks and such as that. So I'm going to start by trying to remove these covers. If I have to pull the steering wheel, I will, but we're just going to take it one step at a time, and I'll see if I can muddle my way through it. So we'll try and film each section as I go along here, and we'll just see what we run into. So here we go. Okay, so we've got the screws out here, so I'm going to go ahead and try and pull this cover off. We'll see what it does here. One thing I don't want to do is to break the plastic if I can help it. Yeah, I watch these videos all the time and these guys just reach in and just pull the stuff apart. And it's like, no. Of course, on my cart, it can never be quite that cooperative. Naturally. Well, and what really doesn't help matters is I broke my finger a few days ago. It's been about, I guess, about a week or so. And it's still in the healing process. So I'm kind of limited as to what I can do. Oh, good grief. This is ridiculous. This should just pop right apart. Very good. Well, and I didn't even break off all the little tags for it. Let's see if the top will slide out or not. Well, okay, now then. Well, this should be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and pause it here, and then I'll come back in a little bit. Okay, well, I managed to get the top and the bottom covers off without having to drop the steering column, which is something that I just did not want to have to do. But the only way that I can get to this thing at this point is to go ahead and remove the steering wheel and the horn assembly. So I've got to take the steering wheel off, remove the horn assembly here, and then there's 4 bolts. You can see one right here, and there's another one on this side, and then 2 up on top to remove this whole assembly here that the lock is in. So, going to be a little bit of time here. I'm going to go get my steering wheel puller, and we'll pull all that out, and we'll see exactly what needs to be done. See, there's the bolts on top on that side, and then there's some screws and stuff that are on the front side here that have to be removed too. So I've already taken out the electronic portion. It's right here. It just has one little screw that goes in here that holds it in place like that. So you just take that little screw out and this whole thing just flops right out. So, alright, time to get the steering wheel puller. I'm in the process right now of going ahead and removing this. Got to get this center bolt off here. It's kind of hard to do because I'm holding the camera. And like I say, I've got a finger that's healing from being broken about 2 weeks ago. So I can't really use my index finger very much. But, whoa, there we go. It all fell out. So now I just got to get the puller on there, and we can go ahead and pull this thing. Alright, so the steering wheel is off. And now we've got to take out these 2 screws here. And then this should just slide off the column. So, let me get my screw gun out here.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Stop thinking it and come over here.
I don't know if that's getting a bite on it. That one did. Okay, I'll set that off to the side. Now then, let's see if I can get this one. There's that part. Okay. And
it's okay, I keep going inside and she keeps turning off the cooler.
Oh, does she? That sounds about right.
Okay.
Okay, so there it is. We got the combination assembly off. Now we've got to remove 1, 2, 3, looks like 3 bolts on there to get this off. So I'll go ahead and pull that off here real quick. Alright, well, you're going to get an underside view of this because it's the only way that I can set this camera up. But this takes a 10mm socket to take these out. I've got them on my extension, so we're going to see how well this works here. These are usually not on very tight, so they should be pretty easy to break loose. Yeah. Okay, I can just sit here and turn these by hand. Okay, there's the first one. And the second one. Now there is another little wiring harness on the back of this that we're going to have to take loose. But I couldn't unplug it earlier, so I've got to get this assembly off first, and then I can see how that harness is hooked up. You can see that just falls right off once that's done. So there it is right there. And the other half of that harness just goes all the way up in there. That's going to be interesting to take loose. Can you see that? There's no plug on it on this end, and it goes into, let's see if I can move this down here where you can see it a little easier. It goes into this jacket right here. And I am not cutting open that jacket to get to the other end. So we'll see what I can come up with on that part of it. But we've got the assembly out. I think, oh, okay, so maybe. Well, hang on here just a minute. I'm going to try something real quick. I've got to set the camera down to do it, so. Okay, I managed to get the lock assembly out. Basically the way that this is set up, there's this little hole right here, and that matches up to this little pin right here. So you have to, this basically slides in here like this, and that little pin goes in place. But what it is, you have to put the key in here, and you have to turn it between off and accessory. And then when you do that, then it releases this pin here that you can push down. Now I used this little tiny Allen wrench to just push on it. And when I pushed down on it and I kind of cranked it off to the side, that assembly slid right out. So that's basically all it took. So I could have done this without taking the whole steering column apart, but little did I know that that's what it was going to take. And the other crazy thing is that the original steering lock started working as soon as I started messing with it. But I'm going to go ahead and replace it anyway, just because I don't really trust it. Maybe I'll hang on to it just in case I need it later on down the road sometime. But in the meantime, we'll just go ahead and put the other lock assembly back in again, and we'll see how well that one works. So we'll be back in a little bit. Lock is being a little bit difficult going back in, so not real sure how I'm going to film this, but I really need an extra pair of hands here to do this. But you have to kind of fidget with the key a little bit to see how that pin is right there, and it slides in, but you have to kind of play with the key a little bit to get that to go in. Well, it's partially in. Now if I can just get it to go the rest of the way in. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, well, I'm in a bit of a dilemma here. This was an aftermarket ignition switch that I got, and it was not the right switch, as it turns out. When I got to looking at the crazy thing, it was made a little bit different, just enough to keep it from being able to work on here. So now I've got an ignition switch that is questionable. I did get it to where it'll turn now, but I don't know how long it's going to last, is the thing. And the other problem is that we don't have an Isuzu dealer where I live, and that's going to be the only place I'm going to be able to get this switch. I might check with General Motors and see if I can get one through them. So I'm trying to decide whether I should just leave the electrical portion off, so I can turn it with a screwdriver and get it started, and hook up a kill switch on the car, or what I'm going to do. So we'll see. I'll piddle with it here just a little bit and make a decision about it. Okay, I've gone ahead and put the original lock tumblers back in. You have to have the key in and put it on between accessory and on when you do it. And then on the back side of the lock, there's a notch back there that fits into the electrical portion back in the back. And you just got to make sure that that notch that's on the back is lined up correctly so that the pin can feed all the way back. And it just slides right in. At that point, it's pretty easy to do. It's not hard. I think I'm going to leave the covers off the steering column for right now, and I'll reassemble everything, and that way if I have to replace this switch again, lovely. The joys of living right next to the railroad tracks. Anyway, I'm going to leave those covers off so that I can change this thing out quickly if I need to. This is not the way I wanted to do this, but hey, it's what you got to do sometimes. So we'll just reassemble everything here real quick and have it sitting out, and I'll just have to be real careful with it. So anyway, that's what we've got. We'll just see what happens. Okay, so I got the bolts back in up here and over here, holding the assembly in, reconnected the battery, and now then put in the key, and now it turns. So you tell me. I just don't know. It would not turn for anything when I came out here this morning, and then I take the tumblers out and voila, it starts working again. So the question is how long will it work? I may be stuck someplace at the side of the road, but tearing this thing apart again. So I'll just keep my tools with me and see what happens, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and put the steering wheel back on and reassemble this thing, and we'll be done. Well, as you can see, we're all reassembled with the exception of the covers on the steering column. I'm just going to leave that open for now. We'll just see what all can be done. I'm hoping that this isn't going to lock back up on me. If it doesn't, within the next couple of weeks, I'll put those covers back on. So, anyway, there we go. That's how you tear apart the ignition switch on this thing. I know it wasn't as complete as it could be, but dealing with the handicaps that I was dealing with today, that was the best I could do. So, if I have to replace this thing again, I'll go back over it again and make a better video. Anyway, have a good day. Thanks a lot.